Hi, my name's Brad Thomas. Welcome to episode number 6 of our common coaching errors. In this episode, we'll be talking about error number 6 and the final one in our series, and that is the failure to take notes. So having a think about your own coaching. Who is it that's taking notes? Is it you? Is it your team member? Is it both? Or is it no one? Certainly from my experience, usually the options are it's no one or it's the leader. Certainly often the team member themselves aren't taking notes, and that's a really important miss. Your team member is probably the most important person that needs to make sure they're taking notes. A couple of benefits for taking notes in your coaching sessions. Number one is it sends a very clear message to your team member that this coaching is really important to you, and it's important enough to make sure you're writing key points down. If your team member's taking notes, it also sends a very clear message to you that they're engaged in the time they're spending with you, and the outcomes and actions are really important to them as well. Of course, obviously it improves their memory, making sure that their recall by the act of writing things down is higher as well. Improves the likelihood, number 3, of changes actually occurring, of the team member actually going away and doing something different. The very act of writing it down, number 4, is it increases accountability. People don't argue with their own data. So when they're writing things down in their own words, using their own language, there is absolutely a high accountability and ownership to those actions, to those goals, to those notes. So what are some tips for making sure that we're taking notes effectively? Number 1 is, if you are taking notes, make sure you refer to them at the start of every single coaching session from the previous session. It sends, again, a very clear message that follow-up is really important and that you will review the notes and ask questions based on how they went since the last coaching session. Number 1 is make sure that your coachee, we've already talked about this, is also taking notes. They are the number 1 most important person to take notes. It's particularly helpful if they're taking notes in a central system that you can view as well. That way you don't need to take notes as well, and you can absolutely focus on the conversation that you're having with them. The next tip, number 3, is really around, as you're taking notes, make sure that it's dot points, small bite-sized chunks. It does not need to be war and peace. The general rule of thumb with taking notes is if somebody else, another leader, another coach, was to pick up those notes, they'd know exactly what happened and what they need to follow up on if you are absent or need somebody else to take over some of your coaching. And finally, number 4 is make sure you have a central location to keep all of your coaching notes and goals and feedback, and make sure they're all in one place. Too often I see team members or coaches using notepads, and it's usually one notepad for every team member that they're coaching. If you're going to do that, make sure you've got a notepad for each user and team member versus one notepad for everyone and using the same notepad. Just make sure it keeps all the information together in one spot. Or even better, make sure you've got a system like YakTrack, a central system that can keep everything together. Speaking of YakTrack, let's have a quick look at how that can support you in taking effective notes. Okay, so here we are in YakTrack. Let's go ahead and create a coaching session. I'm on a leader's dashboard here, and as you can see, Carla Mack is yet to receive a coaching session. Both Cassius and Cole have, so let's go ahead and open up a coaching session here. And what you can see is it presents a really nice, simple format to take notes during your coaching. Both my coachee as well as myself as the leader can access this form, and we can both take notes as we run through the coaching session. Very simple. Also, if you're accessing this from a mobile phone or an iPad, it does have voice to text, so you can go ahead and record your voice and it would convert that into text. For the purpose of today, we'll just simply put in some simple notes here. You can see here that this coaching form is around the GROW methodology, very popular around the world. However, this can be customized to whatever coaching methodology you're using at any given time. Of course, after any coaching session, it's important that we take some great coaching notes. In this case, we'll coaching notes and coaching goal, I should say. In this case, we'll set a goal around discovery, asking great questions of our customers, put in some goal text here as well. Make sure you've got the due by date, and that full coaching session, the notes, is complete. Now, what happens as a result of taking those notes? Everyone now has access to those notes, can review them at any time in their coaching history or notes history. We could even, as a leader, go into our report section and pull up all the notes that we have on our coaching sessions where they're all in one spot,
and we can gather that information all in one hit. If we're going into a one-on-one with a team member, for example, all of the relevant notes are here. And as you can see, this team's got 3 coaching sessions. It tells me who the coach was, the coach UID, the goal that was set as a result of that coaching, and of course the key elements or key notes and dot points as discussed in the video already around what's important around note taking. It also starts to track the key area of focus. So as an organization, as a team, you can track those most commonly used skills and techniques that team members are being coached on and setting goals on.
So there you have it. By now you should see how taking notes can absolutely improve the success of not only your coaching, but also the success of your team members as a result of your coaching. Hopefully also you can see that by putting all of your coaching notes in a central system like YakTrack can help reduce the clutter and make sure everything is at your fingertips when you need it at the right time. So what are you going to do differently this month to improve your coaching?